America. Welcome to the Ryan Samuel Show. Tonight, Reddit Republicans. Have they lost their minds? I call them Reddit Republicans because they spend way too much time in conspiracy forums and online echo chambers. They're no longer living in reality. These are the voices that should be grounded in conservative principles, but instead chase the latest drama for clicks, views, and money. My position is very straightforward. Much of what they push is nonsense, disconnected from facts on the ground. The Epstein files, there's absolutely nothing substantial there. Yet they hype it up endlessly for engagement. It's not real accountability. It's content farming. Pure, plain, and simple. The same goes for their Russia takes. Celebrating or soft pedaling in ways that have little connection to practical policy. It drives comments and shares. But it doesn't advance conservatism. Look at Tucker Carlson. He's completely, in my opinion, has lost his way. Candace Owens is in a very deep cycle of what appears to be a mental health crisis. She's pushing false conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk, and those claims just do not hold up. They're clearly aimed at generating controversy and revenue. It's a grift. It's there to create internal drama, which spikes her podcast numbers. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene has fallen into this desperate trap. She seems increasingly desperate for clicks and to just stay relevant, leaning into more extreme rhetoric and conspiracy adjacent talk that keeps her in the headlines but drifts further from steady conservative governance. Thomas Massie had a wonderful opportunity to actually make meaningful and relevant changes in our government. If he could only stay grounded. He had consistent votes for limited government against reckless spending, yet the Reddit crowd, or the internet crowd, cheers primary challenges against him. Because he got way too into the Epstein files. He went way down a rabbit hole that he never should have went down. This is what happens when you get sucked into the clicks, you get sucked into the money, and you get sucked into the Reddit forums. You prioritize online validation over practical results. You celebrate foreign actors for content, inflate non-stories like the Epstein files, turn on solid voices, and cheer for theories and things that just there's no evidence to suggest that they exist. Tonight, we're going to expose this detachment. We're going to break it down. We're going to look at Tucker Carlson's statements, Candace Owens' videos, and Thomas Massie's beautiful career that he hurt himself. We're going to look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's click chasing and jumping to conclusions before she has the facts. Drop your takes down into the comments. Are these Reddit Republicans even living in the real world anymore? Or are they just chasing the next conspiracy click for views and money? Which voices are still grounded? As always, you can call into the show 561-786-2916. We will be right back. back. We're live. We got some comments. Luke, I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds to be that you're precisely what I'm talking about. If you'd like to call in 561-786-2916. We're ready to kick this off. We got a great show tonight. I'm trying to keep the sanity of the Republican Party and the union and the movement that we had that brought us to this wonderful, amazing election that was the greatest political comeback in American history. After Donald Trump was essentially removed from office, call it whatever you want. Talk about the election, talk about the mail-in ballots, whatever reason. Then he gets hit with 34 felony counts, civil lawsuits, more felony probes by state attorneys and district attorneys that are meeting in the Oval Office and the Department of Justice, and they're trying to go after him at a state level. He overcomes all of that. The MAGA movement becomes this amazing, incredible push for justice. This amazing push to get the people who have been wronged out of jail from January 6th. Again, full disclaimer, plenty of people were completely wrong and belong in jail. But more than them were completely wronged and placed in jail because they walked into the Capitol after the police officers invited them in. I think the ones who were wrong deserve to be in jail. But we had this wonderful movement, this great thing. We were all united because we were all doing, all of the podcasters, all of the Tucker Carlsons. We were telling the truth. We were telling the truth about the censorship. We were telling the truth about the Twitter files. We were telling the truth about the political persecution of Donald Trump. We were telling the truth about the COVID lockdowns. We were telling the truth. We were united because we all saw and all spoke the truth. That's why we all had the same exact message. And that's why we won. Because you couldn't prove us wrong. You couldn't sit here and say that social media companies were not taking down opposing political content. You could not say that the FBI did not force Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Google to silence and subvert opposing political opinions. And those opposing political opinions are Republicans or conservatives or libertarians. Because we do not believe in big government. We believe in restraining the government. The Democrats believe in big government. So who is their biggest fan? The government. You think the government's going to love and support the people that want to cut them in half or make them the size of a tenth that they are? We had this wonderful movement. And now it's splintering off. And it's splintering off by some of the biggest names in the game. Tucker Carlson, perfect example. Tucker Carlson exposed January 6th for what it actually was. That, yeah, the videos you saw were real. The throwing, the breaking, the trying to break into the Capitol, that was real. But the videos you didn't see was the calm walking in after all of the mayhem was done. Or the number of people in the crowd that were forcing people to go into the Capitol. He exposed all of that, did great, wonderful journalistic job. Same thing. Candace Owens was a big part of the movement. She went after Black Lives Matter, exposed the actual truth. That they were grifting, that they were stealing money, that they were buying $1 million homes with all of their donations. Marjorie Taylor Greene got into politics because of this and won. And Thomas Massie was one of the biggest pinnacles of freedom. And then he got wrapped up in the nonsense because when you're reporting on the side that you support, people don't necessarily pay attention to you as much. When you're not angry, when you're not yelling, when you're not constantly confronting, when you're not creating drama for clicks, nobody's watching you. Nobody's sharing your content. Nobody's commenting. Nobody's arguing with you. You're not being put at the top of the Twitter feed. You're not being put on the For You page of TikTok or Facebook. You're just flatlined and yellow, mellow. But if you can add a little bit of nuance to some things, if you can show sincere questioning of what's happening in this country, what are we doing here? This isn't what I voted for. People start listening, whether it's true or not. Now, some of them may believe that it's true. Sometimes you convince yourself that it's true in order to feel guilty for what you're actually doing. So all of that, and now some of the biggest, most powerful names in the conservative movement have destroyed themselves and discredited the movement, excuse me. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene meant more and had more passion than anybody. I think she truly believed that she was getting into Congress and she was going to change this country. And then she got in there and realized the system is rigged. And I think she's disheartened for that. I think she's sincere. But I think she's inexperienced. And now she's desperately trying to stay relevant because she's about to fade into history come January. So we're going to break this down. What happened to these people? My theory is that's why I call them Reddit Republicans. We're going to dive deep into the conspiracy. Who's on the grassy knoll? Who's in the watchtower? We're going to talk about Candace Owens. I've been so frustrated with Candace Owens. I can't even think. I can't even. It makes me sick of how ruthless and how cruel and just the absolute blatant lies she has told about Erica and Charlie Kirk. People she used to know, love, and work for. But she doesn't care about them. And me, I question that, right? I'll question Candace Owens, and all of a sudden her little minions come in the comments and they go Max, Candace. Oh, Ryan Samuels must have his $7,000 from Israel. Because they have to build a conspiracy and they have to protect themselves from being torn down. They have to protect their business. I'm not interested in clicks. I'm not interested in likes. I'm not interested in popularity. I'm interested in showing the truth. That is all I am supposed to do. Yes, I'm a conservative, but I'm also a journalist. I spent the entire show last night talking about how Republicans are completely wrong on Section 702 of the FISA Act. Completely wrong. It doesn't matter that I'm a Republican. It doesn't matter that I supported Donald Trump. It doesn't matter that Donald Trump Jr. came on this show and endorsed this podcast and thanked me for the support of him and his family. I'm still going to hold them accountable because that's integrity. That's honor. That's what the First Amendment to the Constitution is supposed to be. The freedom of the press, the freedom to speech, the freedom to assemble or petition the government for grievances. The freedom of the press is not to have a press pass and work for CNN or Fox News or Newsmax. The freedom of the press is an individual right. It's the same as speech that I can report. I can make public my grievances with any form of government. City, state, county, federal. any politician, and that I am protected from political persecution. Not for me to pretend things are going on and make money. Intentionally. Now, there are certain circumstances where you uncover certain things and, hey, it leads you here. And, hey, maybe there is something to this Epstein file thing. Except that there's just not. Except that Epstein himself said that there was nothing with Donald Trump, that he hated Donald Trump. Except that Donald Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and said that he was a creep and called the police department on him and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. Except that Ghislaine Maxwell did an interview for Prison and said he had absolutely nothing to do with the Epstein files. He wasn't there. He was always cordial. He never did anything inappropriate, ever. Her words. Look it up. Google it right now. Fact check me live that she did not say that, because she did. Except for the fact that the entirety of the Epstein files were in the possession of the Justice Department under Joe Biden, who was trying to criminally prosecute and put Donald Trump away for the rest of his life. Why didn't they bring it out then? They had access to it. The same department that is persecuting him, that is trying to put him away, if he's an actual child predator, they just decided to let that go, but they had to make up nuanced real estate violations, 34 of the same count, because they couldn't find anything else, couldn't get anything else to stick. It's nonsense. There's nothing there, but you keep screaming it, and that's what people want to hear about. That's what they want to hear. Oh, they didn't release the Epstein files. They got into office and released, what, 3-4 million Epstein files? How many times do you want them to release it? For the sake of argument, and this is just a fact, what I'm about to tell you. You know what we were doing when Joe Biden was in office? The Republican Party? We were screaming at Joe Biden to release the Epstein files. We were screaming at them to release the Epstein files because Bill Gates and Bill Clinton were in there. They were on the Lolita Express, and they were pedophiles. Released. They're not releasing the files because they're hiding it. We were doing the exact same thing that they're doing now. And if there was anything to it, both sides would have released it to help rally their base. He's a creep. He's gone. He's a very powerful person who had connections. So now all of a sudden, anybody who ever met him is a creep too. Have you ever had a friend or a family member or somebody you know that got a DUI? Does that make you an alcoholic? Or a friend or a family member who is addicted to methamphetamine or drugs? Does that make you a drug addict? They were at your house for Christmas. You went to their birthday party at the bar. You guys went to the bathroom together. You didn't do cocaine? Sometimes you're just not guilty by association, whether you're on the left side or the right side. Let's listen. I want to break down these videos because we're going to go run out of time if I keep rambling. 561-786-2916. This is a video from MSNBC with Marjorie Taylor Greene and this giant sign that says release the files. They have all of the survivors behind them, except none of the survivors can really name anybody other than Epstein. Figure that one out.
This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about. As a matter of fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration. I think this is something that was worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very, very young.
I'll go one step further. One of them killed herself. Horrible. Terrible. But you know not what one of them said? That Donald Trump did it. Or that Bill Clinton did it. Or that Bill Gates did it. And just as Kash Patel said, there's no evidence to suggest that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked anyone to anybody but himself. I could be completely wrong, but it doesn't matter. There's no evidence to suggest that I'm wrong. There's no evidence to suggest that they're right.
But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996, and they have carried with them shame. But I want to tell you something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse. The shame falls on every single person that enabled it. The shame falls on every single person that took money to continue it. And the shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent.
But we need to release the Epstein files, because the mountain of victims we have behind us aren't enough to point the finger at Donald Trump. The mountain of people behind us aren't enough to point the finger at Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton. The people behind us cannot identify anybody other than Jeffrey Epstein. That's one of the biggest clues in this case. Yeah, what happened to him is horrible. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible what happened to them. And it shouldn't happen to anybody. But we need to move past this Epstein file thing. It just doesn't make any logical sense. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about $300 billion that the United States taxpayer is going to pay to Iran. I'll explain it after. Let's just watch it. Mind you, she did this the second the deal was done.
So I'm reading today that in the U.S.-Iran proposed peace deal that is supposedly going to be signed later this week. This is after we've been told at least 38 to 40 times that there's going to be a peace deal, but supposedly there's one. There is an agreement that there will be $300 billion be given to Iran for reconstruction. and investments for Iran. Now, I'm assuming this comes from the American taxpayer, and I want to tell you that's a bunch of bullshit.
I agree, Marjorie, except it's not coming from the American taxpayer. Except you're sitting in front of a camera and you're pushing this out to the world immediately for clicks, views, and comments. And it turns out it's not true. But the left is screaming the same thing. It's all over Twitter. It's all over my feed. Every little lefty little commenter is in there. $300 billion to Iran. Oh, that's worse than Obama. Oh, how's your orange man now? The $300 billion is not even coming from the American taxpayer. The $300 billion is coming from the Gulf Coalition, and they can't even get it unless they meet certain requirements. They have to complete certain tasks. They have to pass nuclear inspections. They have to make sure that they don't have nuclear weapons or even ambitions for nuclear weapons. They need to make sure that the Straits of Hormuz stay open and they don't mess with the world's oil. They have to behave. They cannot fund proxies. And every time they complete a little task, they get a little trickle to rebuild everything we completely destroyed. That's the true story. That's the reality of what's happening with the $300 billion from Iran. Tucker Carlson, same thing. Same thing. Amazing, awesome job in his career. Wonderful career. One of my favorite political pundits of all time, besides Glenn Beck and maybe Bill O'Reilly. I like Hannity too. But he's been flip-flopping. He left Fox News. He started his own thing. Then all of a sudden, Trump gets elected. There's nothing left to really complain about. Now we have to start blaming Israel. He used to love Israel. Now all of a sudden, he can't stand Israel. Why? Why? Let's watch this.
I love Israel as a place to visit, and I'm not against it. Again, I don't have any problem with Israel. I don't have any problem with people who love Israel, people who think Israel's great. I know it doesn't great.
I mean, I'm not attacked. Look, Israel's doing what it thinks it needs to do. I just want to say for the 50th time, I'm not especially mad at Israel.
We have incited predators in a foreign country to take advantage of us. Oh, that's such an anti-Israel thing to say. It's not anti-Israel at all.
I don't think Israel's America's biggest problem. I've never thought that. But it's certainly America's most insulting problem. It's so insulting to be ordered around by a country of 9 million people when you're the United States.
He's creating a conspiracy that doesn't exist. Nobody is ordering the United States around, especially Israel. Israel hates this deal. They hate this Iran deal. Ben Shapiro came out and just today was screaming about it. Israel's not happy about it. It's not in the best interest of Israel. It's in the best interest of the United States, which is all Donald Trump cares about. Donald Trump went in there to stop the nuclear problem. And he did it. Now he's done. It's over. Israel doesn't think it goes far enough. He doesn't care because we are the ones who are in charge. Israel is our puppy dog. But we need to promote this conspiracy. We need to get people tuned. It's almost like when he's doing this gradually over time, he's just laying the groundwork. Well, I never thought that, but it is concerning for this. And then all of a sudden, we're in full-blown anti-Israel mode.
I'm not attacking Israel. You know, good luck. You're great. Wish you well. Can't wait to go to Jerusalem next summer on vacation, which I have done and hope to do again.
What's happening in Gaza, which is the killing of civilians because they are related to terrorists, that is totally incompatible with Western civilization.
It's not an attack on the country. I do wish Israel well. I always have, and I still do.
For over 2 years, Israel has murdered tens of thousands of children on purpose and then locked the doors of Gaza, shot dozens and dozens and dozens of journalists so no one can film what's happening, and just leveled the place so they can move the people out and take it. What's the justification for that? What's the excuse?
The excuse is, Tucker, is because the people who live in the Gaza Strip or Hamas are religious fanatics. Here come the comments. Oh, you're a neocon. Not even close. Not even close. But I do know that Islamic fundamentalists, their entire worldview is to kill Jews. And you, by the way. They don't think you should exist either. The problem is that if you're in Florida, they don't own the government of Georgia or Alabama. They don't live right there. They're not a city away trying to develop a nuclear weapon with terrorist cells in your local city. Everybody in the Middle East is trying to kill Israel. Sure, you can make the argument, well, I wonder why. Well, they got kicked out of 109 countries for a reason. I wonder what that reason is. The most frustrating part is that these big moguls of the MAGA movement have lost the MAGA movement its credibility. They're doing it for clicks. You cannot make an argument to me that they are not. They've become performance artists. They've become addicted to the revenue that is developed. Candace Owens is a prime example of this. What Candace Owens has done is absolutely disgraceful, and it's disgusting. And I hope one day Erica Kirk sues her into freaking oblivion. Like the Prime Minister of France is suing her into oblivion. Here is Candace Owens encouraging everyone to visit Russia. Russia's the greatest place on earth. Tucker Carlson did the same thing. Because when you report on something that are outside the norm, people go, wait a minute. Wait, they've been lying to us about Russia this whole time? Ronald Reagan said it was an evil empire, but it's not. It's this glorious, wonderful socialist utopia that everybody should go visit. That's what she's saying. I'll use Candace's own words. I bring receipts. Here are my receipts.
I encourage literally every person in the world to visit Russia. Apply for a visa. You actually are allowed to do that, Dana. Go see the Kremlin Museum. You will be spiritually moved by Russia.
Spiritually
everything.
moved.
And I mean,
look at this. She's got this little stupid, she's so into Russia, she's got a Russian doll sitting on her desk. Do you think when she went to Russia, the Russian government treated her the same way they would treat anybody else who came to Russia? Do you think that maybe they were like, hey, we can use her for some propaganda, a little low IQ, let's get it going? You think if you go to Russia as a media mogul, right, as a high-powered influencer, you go to Russia, you think the Russian government is going to show you the crappy supermarket store? Do you think that's what they're going to do? I wouldn't do that. I don't want you going back and talking to your millions and millions of patriotic, American-loving followers how crappy Russia was. I would show you the best of the best, baby.
everything that we have been told about Russia is a lie.
Everything's a lie.
Okay. So when Tucker Carlson was going around looking at the grocery stores, that was not propaganda. That is real. Like I said, an entire Catholic family moved there from Iowa, and I asked them blankly, is this just in Moscow? They live an hour and a half outside. No. I said, one of the most amazing things is how cheap the food is, how healthy the food is, that every place is like Whole Foods. They particularly pointed out the grocery stores, but I don't.
Every place is like Whole Foods and everything is healthy in Russia. Do you know what the average age of death is in Russia? It's like 67 years old, 65 years old. We're like 77, 80, 10 years higher. And we double fist cheeseburgers and canola oils and friggin' triglycerides and have heart attacks at the age of 58, 56, 55. We have the highest obesity rate in the world. And we outlive Russians by 10 years. Give me a break. Give me a break.
I don't want you to take it from me. I don't want you to take it from Tucker Carlson. I want you to go for yourself. I want you to use your own eyes, and I want you to believe your own eyes. My takeaway from visiting Russia is that it is our society that is on the decline, not theirs. Russia, like I said, has not been communist in over 30 years. What about us? Pornography, welfarism, nonstop war, debt.
Nonstop war. Russia hasn't been in a state of nonstop war. Russia didn't invade Georgia, Ukraine. Russia doesn't want to restore. Vladimir Putin has not publicly said that he wants to restore the old Soviet Union with war. He didn't use intercontinental ballistic missiles, which are nuclear weapons, by the way, remove the nuclear warheads, replace them with normal bombs, and bomb them just to scare the crap out of us and the world. Once a ballistic missile is launched, there's no stopping it. We have some detection systems, but by the time they hit, it's over. The only thing that happens when a ballistic missile is launched is that a nuclear ballistic missile is launched is that we launch all of ours. China launches all of theirs. And the world ends. To say that they're healthy, this woman has the IQ of a garlic mashed potato. She is that naive. She is that gullible. She doesn't understand foreign intelligence. She doesn't understand sociological or geopolitical manipulation that happens when you visit these countries. She's never been trained. She doesn't know. She just goes there as this innocent girl. She's not even good as a podcaster. I don't even think she's particularly good. I just think she's a rare anomaly. I think she's a black conservative, and all of a sudden people are like, oh, let's tune into the black conservative. I think in her past she did great work, but I think she got sucked down the rabbit hole of Israel and the Epstein files, and now Russia.
People telling us that this is freedom, right? This is great. This is you being free. You wouldn't want to live in Russia. That's the boogeyman syndrome. Right? They're comparing it to something that you've never seen so that you don't, riot in the streets, demanding change, recognizing that we are actually being stolen from. Our inheritance is being stolen from. And these people are growing increasingly dangerous in their demands, increasingly communist in our demands. They want to control our words, to control our thoughts, to punish us, tagging the U.S. Treasury. They want me to go to prison for going to Russia on a family vacation. You will know them by their fruits.
I don't think she should go to prison for going to Russia. I don't think there's a lot of people who think she should go to prison for going to Russia. She's made wild claims about Charlie Kirk. Wild, insane, incredible claims. A little background. If you might not know, she used to work for Turning Point USA. She used to work for Charlie Kirk. She didn't really get along with Erica, according to reports. There are text messages between Charlie and Erica talking about getting rid of her. She eventually resigned. They pushed her out. They didn't want her there. For whatever reason. I don't know. I'm not Charlie Kirk. I'm not in his mind. But the evidence shows that they pushed her out. They did not want her there. Now Charlie is assassinated, and now this is a wonderful opportunity to get back at Erica. This is an amazing opportunity to destroy the people who once destroyed you. She's been fired from every job she's ever had. She got fired from the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro gives you $1 million contract, and you go with these wild conspiracy theories about Israel, and the guy's Jewish and owns it and wholeheartedly supports Israel. I would tell you to go for it if you were true, if it was right, but it's just not. There's just, the evidence is not there. It is not there. It has never has been there. Here is Candace Owens flipping back and forth from September 2025, October, till just a few days ago, yesterday, about where Charlie Kirk was shot, how he was shot.
And thinking that a shot went off from here, if that was just maybe like decoy number 2, and actually Charlie was shot from beneath him, which then could maybe explain why there was no exit wound. Maybe everyone's looking up when we should be looking below.
What do you mean? It hit his spine. That's why he died instantly. The guy missed the shot. He was aiming at his head, and he got lucky, and it dropped low and hit Charlie in the neck. It was only 100 yards away. I mean, in the Marine Corps, I would shoot 500 yards with iron sights and 15-mile-an-hour winds and put it 10 out of 10. Well, 100 yards is nothing. That's a joke. I could take somebody who's never shot a rifle in their life to the range in one day, and they would have a group like this at 100 yards with any rifle. Sometimes there's not an exit wound. Sometimes it bounces off your spine and goes up into your head, or bounces off your spine and goes down, or just gets lodged in your spine and severs your spine. What does the angle he got shot at mean that, like, have to do with an exit wound? Bullets bounce off of bones.
Right? Maybe we should be looking below. People are doing very, what I would say, credible videos. People that certainly have the credibility are ballistics experts that are saying that what we see in the front is an exit wound, not an entry wound. Theory that is being floated that Charlie was shot from the back. And I'm telling you this 100%. Charlie Kirk was shot from the front. And at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. What I can state rather unequivocally is that there is now more evidence, more evidentiary support that Charlie may have been killed by a rigged explosive device that was on him. I never dismissed the exploding mic theory. I was always clear to my team that I thought there was something there. And then my producer has a note that there are a lot of comments asking about the microphone theory. Here's what I will say about that. When I looked at image from the side, the microphone is still on him afterwards. So like when you see it from on, it looks like it kind of disappears, but then it kind of shifts. When you look at the perspective slightly to the left, you see that it actually stays on him and it's just in the fold. I would imagine if anything did sling into him with that kind of a force, it would fall off. And I can tell you it doesn't fall off. Yeah, I never changed my mind. Maybe we should be looking below. Oh, Charlie was shot from the back. Charlie Kirk was shot from the front. Charlie may have been killed by a rigged explosive device that was on him. And
jumping on whatever bandwagon is in the Twitter feed that day. Whatever. Oh, he got shot. Oh, the comments say he got shot in the front. The comments show he got shot in the back. The comments show he got shot from underneath. The exploding mic theory is actually probably one of the most interesting ones. Except you have somebody that was arrested. You have somebody that was arrested. You have somebody where the rifle was found. You have somebody who did it. You have witnesses who saw a sniper on the roof. There's pictures of a sniper on the roof. They call him a sniper. He's not really a sniper. The kid text messaged his tranny girlfriend because Charlie Kirk was full of hate. There is absolutely zero, non-existence, no substance to anything other than this idiot kid who got too wrapped up in the Reddit files and the hate of the internet and didn't go out on the lawn and touch some grass. There's nothing to it. But that's not bad enough. It's not bad enough that Candace Owens says it was a conspiracy. She has literally said that Eric Kirk was in on it. Oh, she's out here celebrating after his death. She took over his company, Turning Point USA. There's zero evidence to suggest that Erica Kirk had anything to do with Charlie Kirk's death. You can say anything you want about their relationship. You can say anything you want about her meeting him and he was the head of this. Yeah, you can say whatever you want. I don't know. I wasn't there. But how could she pull that off? One of the most popular political figures in history. How could she, just a normal girl from Arizona, pull off this massive scheme to assassinate her husband, have somebody get captured who did it, not spill the beans about it, but also used an exploding microphone? Like, stop it. Stop it. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. If there was something there, I promise you I would be all over it. I promise you I would be 100% all over it. Here's her again talking about Israel. She's obsessed with Israel. She's obsessed with Charlie Kirk. She's obsessed with anything that will blow up her comment section. She's a grifter. She's a fraud. And she has been useless since day one. Useless. Charlie Kirk fired her. Turning Point USA. Fact check me live. I'm here. Call in if you disagree. Charlie Kirk fired her. And she did a little bit of editing work, and then she got a great gig at the Daily Wire. What did Ben Shapiro do? He fired her. Maybe the entire world isn't after Candace. Maybe Candace Owens is just an idiot. An idiot that tells people what they want to hear. That tells people there's some suspicion here. Oh, let's create some mystery and some nuance. And what about this? Oh, nope. Oh, listen, I went to Russia, guys. It's better than America. It's basically what she said. I don't disagree with what she said about how people are trying to ruin this country and turn it communist. But to say that Russians are healthier? That every store is like Whole Foods? You mean the store that your government monitor took you to, the same thing that they do in North Korea? Or the hotel room that they put you in? That when you got your visa, the KGB wasn't in your ass and you just didn't see them? Making sure you had the greatest, best, most wonderful experience possible because you are naive and because you are easily manipulated. We are the Russian government and we're going to use this to our advantage. Show her this grocery store. Take her to the museum. Surround her by these specific people who say these specific things. Put up signs that talk about how we're healthy. So when she gets out of her hotel room, she sees signs about healthy. It's operant conditioning. Subconsciously, there's signs about healthy, there's signs about vegetables, there's signs about this guy who lived till 98 years old. There's signs about we don't need this kind of medicine. There's signs about grow your own food. And what is it doing to her subconsciously? I'm not saying that this is what happened. I'm saying that this is a hypothetical situation, that this is what these agencies do. It's why they exist. The CIA does it too. The National Security Agency does it. The KGB does it. The Mossad does it. This is what they do. They get people who are assets. They turned her into an asset without her even knowing it. That's the best kind of asset there is. They turned her into an advocate with one visit. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. They welcomed him in. You can interview Vladimir Putin. We love you. Yeah, come look how great this is. Our country is amazing. Because they know what he's going to report. They wouldn't invite me over there. I could tell you that right now. They wouldn't like what I had to say because I'd be saying what's actually true. I'd be like, man, this grocery store is great. But I'm looking on the maps here and I see there's one over here. Let's go check that one out. Oh, I'm standing in the same one that Candace Owens is in and Tucker Carlson was in. In the biggest city in the country. I mean, come on. Come on. Go to Russia. You go to Russia. Stay there, Candace. Stay in Russia. Here's another clip, and then we're going to get to Thomas Massie. I don't want to miss that.
You know, Judaism is a faith. Israel is a state, and it is not above critique, and that what Bibi Netanyahu has done to the Palestinians since October 7th is a Holocaust. It is a Holocaust that is being committed on Palestinian children and women. And I'm not going to quiet my perspective on that, you know, to kowtow to whatever the prevailing narrative is at the New York Post.
Number one. Here's the number one thing you need to learn. Hamas is a terrorist organization who kills children. Who kills women, who kills children, and blames it on Israel. That's number one. Number two, that is not to say that Israeli bombs have never or do not kill women and children on occasion. But that also doesn't mean that that is the intent of Israel. When you put missile sites in schools that are launching at Israel and Israel needs to bomb the missile site to stop it from protecting its children, what do you expect Israel to do? What would you do? There's a guy standing in your driveway and he had 4 kids around him and he's shooting at your wife and kid and you have a gun. Are you going to not shoot back? You're just going to let him take your family out? That's number one and number two. Number three, who reports the numbers of deaths, of casualties in the Gaza Strip? The government of the Gaza Strip, who is the terrorist organization. So they inflate it. There's videos all over the place of Hamas carrying dolls, pretending that they're children. Making children lay there and play dead, and they're putting their makeup on them. They've been doing this forever. Forever. It's known. Yeah, are women and children dying? Yes, dude. It's war. War is an ugly thing, but not the ugliest of things. The people who think nothing is worth war are much uglier. There's a time and a place for it. But that you're not reporting. You're regurgitating narratives that are shocking and clicky bait. Israel murders children. Click here. I, Candace Owens, will tell you about it. I've been to Russia. I know all about it. End a rant on Candace Owens. What is this? John says, Rothschild, Red Shields, ESAU, Edom, Jephthah, Cursive, Canaan. Okay, man. Super cool. Guys, before we go any further, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Share this with a friend. Tell a friend about the show if you enjoy it. I appreciate it. You can go to ryanfsamuels.com. Check out the website. I got a blog. We report on these stories in writings as well. You can put in your email and you can join our list. Here's the thing with Thomas Massie. He fell in the same bandwagon, and man, did he ruin an awesome career where he could have been a great and amazing contribution. And I'm not even saying to the Republican Party. I'm saying he would have been an amazing contribution to keep the Republicans in check. Another Rand Paul. That's what we need. We need more of those, not less. But Thomas Massie got wrapped up in the Epstein files. Let's watch this Fox News report.
Fox News Alert, we have new information on Jeffrey Epstein's final days. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has the details. Kevin.
Evening, Jesse. The media, of course, spent years trying to tie the president to Jeffrey Epstein. You even heard it this week, claiming they were best friends for years. Only now records actually show that Epstein hated the president, because he turned him into the cops.
Correct.
And the convicted pervy, alleged sex peddler, diddler, well, he came up empty when he went shopping for dirt to save himself. Tonight, we're also learning more about his final days. As you point out, according to the New York Times, if you believe such things, Epstein allegedly tried to commit suicide multiple times before he was eventually found dead. FBI agents said his cell was filled with ropes and sheets and other linens that were not allowed. So how did he get that kind of contraband? Epstein also reportedly made multiple nooses himself. Learned how to do it, I guess. His cellmate, an ex-cop and convicted murderer, said that Epstein repeatedly asked him to make a noose and that Epstein was looking for any way out of his cell possible. In fact, according to his attorneys, there were handwritten notes offering prosecutors alleged dirt on Trump, but he didn't actually have anything, though his lawyers were still trying to cut a deal to reduce his sentence. Vice President J.D. Vance, for one, isn't surprised. He says Epstein always hated Trump.
One of the things you see in the Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police.
Now, of course, sadly, there are still real victims out there and a whole lot of unanswered questions. Truth is, people could be linked to Epstein that we don't know about. And the Veep says he won't be satisfied until all the bad guys are put behind bars.
Nobody's ever going to be satisfied. Ever. It's never going to happen with this situation. Here, that was supposed to be a Thomas Massie video, but I messed up. So my apologies. I'm not perfect. Here is Thomas Massie on Tucker Carlson. They have joined forces.
There's three women, Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert, who signed their names on that discharge petition and all suffered. Marjorie practically gave up her political career over this.
Yes, she did.
Did she give it up or did she ruin her political career over this? That's what Thomas doesn't understand, man. She ruined her political career over this because she wouldn't let it go. She couldn't accept that there was nothing there. Because she's so engrossed in this conspiracy theory. She cannot accept that there's nothing there. Thomas Massie could not accept that there's nothing there. They're both gone. They don't have jobs. So to say that she gave up her political career for this, no, she ruined it. She ruined it.
She and her children got death threats over this.
I get death threats. Anybody in the public spotlight gets death threats. I've had people send me pictures of my house. Literally.
Not from the left, from the right. And
she went to President Trump and said, one of my children is getting death threats. And he said, that's your fault.
Yeah, despicable. He also told her that if she...
That's the alleged story. I mean, Tucker Carlson wasn't there.
Insisted on following through with this, she was going to hurt his friends. She told me the day he told her that.
Hurt whose friends?
The President Trump's friends, his friends. And I suppose some of them have been hurt. Howard Lutnick was shown to be a bald-faced liar, right? Yeah. And it turns out that John Paulson, one of the 3 billionaires who've put money into MAGA Kentucky, was in Epstein's phone book, but also was implicated in these files as doing a fundraiser and reaching out to Jeffrey Epstein to get money from him to honor Howard Lutnick. My hat's off to Marjorie for taking on those threats. Lauren Boebert, they took her over to the Situation Room, right? Like, this is where, if they're trying to kill or capture Osama bin Laden, this is where they are at the White House. They took her into the Situation Room and tried to whip her into taking her name off of the discharge petition.
Over Epstein.
Over Epstein, yep. And then the president vetoed a bill that would have brought water to a large portion of Colorado. Like,
over Epstein.
Over Epstein. And this isn't even, at this point, it's not just about Lauren Boebert. Why are people in Colorado deprived of water? Because their representative wants to expose a sex trafficking ring.
I mean, none of this makes any sense at all because it's a losing issue for Trump. But when it comes to Epstein, it's like, no. And it does raise questions about, like, how did Epstein die and who signed off on that? And why was Epstein rearrested, actually, for crimes he'd already been convicted of?
If you've ever worked for any government agency, which I have, they're incompetent. Congress is like going to the DMV. Your local prison does not have the best people being guards. Do you want to go keep prisoners in their cells for $25,000 a year? Love them, respect them. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. But they're not getting paid enough to really care or really be that into it. The prison system is a for-profit business. America has the world's largest prison population. And I think over half of them never did anything but hurt themselves. That's a cruel and unusual way for a country to be free. But the cameras don't work because they don't have the funding, because it's a for-profit business. They get paid taxpayer money per person in prison and in jail. That's why you see so many ridiculous and small laws that have been lobbied across the United States over the past, 100 years. But this is what's going on in the Republican Party. And there's a split. There's a split between, I would say, three types of people in the Republican Party. The always Trumpers, who are backing him up no matter what. I love Donald Trump. I back him up 95% of the time because he's right 95% of the time. But I do call him out when he's wrong. I hope he fixes the FISA 702. I know he wants the Save America Act passed. I'm with him on that 100%. But the notion that he should be backed up 100% of the time, no, that's not why we're here. That's not why we're journalists. I don't care who you are. You're going to get treated with the same level of scrutiny. That's me. That's the other group. Very small group, I might add. And then there's the conspiracy theorists. There are things that did show conspiracy. Like, we've done it on this show. I've talked about the Twitter files before it was even a thing. I'm still being throttled today on Facebook. I have 115,000 followers on Facebook. I posted a video, prime time this morning. It got like 60 views. 60 people watched it. I post the same video on TikTok where I have 2,000 followers and like 10,000 people watched it. So how is that mathematically even possible? It's still happening. I promise you. It's just not as blatant and out in the open as it used to be. So a lot of the conspiracy theories, they turned out to be true. But what happens when you run out of them? And you've built an entire business around these theories, around uncovering these dirt, around creating these types of conflicts and questions in the public eye. What happens when your views go down? And what happens when your advertisers aren't happy that, hey, you got 100 million views or 500 million views in July, but in August you have 10 million views and I'm paying you $1 million a month. Why should I continue to pay you $1 million a month? And then you start losing money. You're going to lose your business. It takes an awful lot of integrity to lose your business. Takes an awful lot of self-control. Takes an awful lot of controlling greed, pride. So maybe you exaggerate a thing or two here. And then you notice every time you drop the word Israel on this video, it's clicked 50 more times. I get all the analytics for my show. They get the same thing. Then you notice this is what happened with Alex Jones. The more they talked about Sandy Hook, the more clicks they got. The more clicks they got, the more vitamins they sold. So we're going to talk. And he's done really good things. That was terrible. But he's uncovered some serious corruption. But when the motivator is the money and the motivator is the business, that's what you're going to get. I mean, it's human nature. You need a ton amount of self-control not to do it. But hopefully we can all get back on the same page. Hopefully we can unite and come to agreements and get away from the nonsense and the distractions that are not helping repair the country. The Epstein list is not helping repair the country. It's not doing anything to fix the massive problems in the United States of America. It's not doing anything to limit the size of the government and install first principles in every aspect of your life. It's not doing anything to expand your Second Amendment rights. It's not doing anything to unwind the critical damage done that was done through the COVID mandates or the vaccine mandates, or the people who lost their jobs because they didn't want to put a substance in their body that they didn't know anything about. It doesn't fix that. It doesn't fix the billions and billions and billions of dollars that we're sending to foreign countries. And yes, Israel is one of them. It doesn't fix the problem that our taxes are too high and our dollar's worth nothing. It doesn't fix the problem that most American kids can't buy a home. Young people can't buy homes. Not because opportunity isn't there, because giant conglomerates are buying up residential homes and basically restricting them from buying them, forcing them to rent, or devaluing the dollar to the point where it's worth nothing. We are live every Monday through Friday, every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank all of you for coming in and tuning in and staying here with us in the show. I appreciate you guys coming here every night, night after night. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. I need to get my Instagram up. I've never really focused on Instagram, but apparently it's way better than Facebook for me, and I have 500 followers. Apparently Threads is way better than my 115,000 followers. And please follow on the podcast. And if you're on the podcast, tune in live. Get involved in the show. Drop some comments in. Call in. Disagree with me. I love it. I'm all about it. We will remain friends. That much I promise. But thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of the support and all of the love. And I will see you tomorrow night.
Thanks for tuning in to The Ryan Samuels Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.